Welcome back to part 2 of trigonometry. So today we're going to be doing the inverse trigonomic ratios. So if you know the value of the trigonomic ratio for an acute angle, you can use the calculator to find the measure of the angle, which is the inverse of the trigonomic ratio. So the inverse is sine. So if A is the acute angle, and the sine of A is x, then the inverse sine of x is the measure of angle A. So again, if sine is A equals x, then the inverse of sine is x equals the measure of angle A. If A is the acute angle and the cosine of A is x, then the inverse cosine of x is the measure of angle A. Likewise here, cosine of A equals x, then the inverse of cosine times x equals the measure of angle A. And likewise for tangent as well. Let's go ahead and try this out on a problem. Let's see what actually happens. So find the measure of angle A using a calculator to the nearest tenth. So we want to find the measure of angle A. So A is right here. So we have 3 and we have 15. We know 15 is our hypotenuse. 3 is going to be adjacent. So we're going to use cosine. So cosine A equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So plug in what we have. So cosine of A equals adjacent is 3 over hypotenuse is 15. Well, this can reduce down to 1/5. Okay, so that's where we stopped. Now let's use this inverse idea. So I have A. I want to find the inverse of it. So the inverse of A, or the inverse of cosine, is, now this is going to come over to the other side. 1/5 equals the measure of angle A. So type this into your calculator, cosine inverse of 1/5. We get that the measure of angle A is about 78.5 degrees. Again, we get all the way to here, and then we got to type it in our calculator to get out what we have. Let's try another problem. So we want to solve the right triangle. So solve the right triangle, round sides and angle measures to the nearest 10. So we have that the hypotenuse is 9. We have that one of the legs is 6. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to find our other leg, and we need to find our two angles that we have in here. So let's see. We have R, S, and T. So let's go ahead and let's solve for our first angle right here. Let's solve for angle R. So to solve for angle R, I have opposite and I have hypotenuse. So that means I'm going to use sine. So solve for R. So to do that, I'm going to go sine of R equals opposite over hypotenuse. So plug in what we have. We have that the opposite is 6, the hypotenuse is 9. So sine of R equals 6 over 9, which can be reduced down to 2/3. Keep it small, keep it easy. So now I want to find what the measure of angle R is. So I'm going to take the inverse. So sine inverse, this is going to come over here. 2/3 equals the measure of angle R. So type this into my calculator, and I get out that the measure of angle R is 41.8. Okay, so I have one of my angles. I have that this is 41.8. I'll put it right here, 41.8. So now to find my other angle, well, guess what? Solve for angle T. I have two of the three angles. This is 90, this is 41.8. I can use triangle sum theorem. Measure of angle R plus measure of angle T plus measure of angle S equals 180 degrees. So plug in what we have. So R we just found is 41.8. T is our unknown, so measure of angle T. S is 90 equals 180 degrees. So add these and subtract them from both sides. That gives me measure of angle T equals 48.2 degrees. So now I have measure of angle T. I have measure of angle R. So 48.2. Now I can solve for my last side. Solve for RS. Okay, how can I solve for RS? Well, this is a leg. This is a leg. This is my hypotenuse. RS squared plus ST squared equals RT squared. RS is my leg. ST is my leg. RT is my hypotenuse. Plug in what I have. I don't have RS, that's what I'm solving for. So RS squared. I have ST, that's 6. 6 squared. I have RT, that's 9. 9 squared. So this is going to give me RS squared plus 36, because 6 times 6 is 36, equals 81, because 9 times 9 is 81. Subtract 36 from both sides. I get RS squared equals 45. Take the square root. RS is about 6.7. So right here is 6.7. So we found all the information. We found our two angles, and we also found what our third side was. So in this second part of trigonometry, we're finding our missing angle by taking the inverse of our sine operation, which takes our opposite over hypotenuse, or our adjacent over hypotenuse, or the same thing for tangent, our opposite over adjacent, brings it from the other side of the equal sign to right next to our trigonomic function, and then we're able to find our angle by typing it into our calculator. Go ahead and write a summary for what we did today with these two example problems.